How many of you guys have heard of Coffeezilla? Coffeezilla tends to put out some pretty cool work. I generally like him. He became really big during the expose on people like Face Banks and other influencers, Jake Paul, using crypto to scam children into believing that they were going to, like, I'm not sure if you guys remember this, but a bunch of YouTubers were doing pump and dump crypto schemes. What was like Logan Paul's dink doink? That being said, Coffeezilla isn't always right, all right? Sometimes he misses the mark. And so there's a little second channel that he duos with another person, and it's called The Drip. And they're gonna drip or drown. And honestly, I think they drown, because they're gonna be talking about drug prices. And you know, these days when drug prices come up, you can't get away from talking about the big S word, socialism. And so they're going to be talking about socialism here. This video was originally called Socialism Gets Murked by Coffeezilla. It got a little bit of backlash, like a small amount. This is like, I don't know, like an 85% like ratio. It's kind of low, like 85%. This is like not the, for people who rate, this isn't like the best rating. So he was like, so he changed the title or something along those lines, or maybe he just felt like it. I'm not sure, but the title did change. And so we're here now, and I just want to take a look with you guys to see what they have to say about the big S word, the big socialist. We're socialist people here, right? I know I got a couple of libs, but there's like we're like fat cock socialists here, anti-capitalist, maybe some of us. Let's see what they have to say on this.
Reuters amounts that Merck found a drug that is going to cut the risk of death, hospitalization by 50%, ladies and gentlemen.
God is great, and God is great.
Is a bombshell, dude.
That's great, dude.
I was
That's
so
good.
so happy. And then I scrolled down to the comments, and people are just fighting. This guy's basically like, it's $705 per pill, seems reasonable, and that's just a cost. I'm sure the price will increase. The reality,
$705 per pill
for the
like making it, like that's
no. I guess the U.S. paid. The U.S. bought like 1 million doses already.
At
1.7 million.
I
don't know. I know if that's actually true. 1.7 million doses at a cost of $1.2 billion. You have to take 10 doses. 705 per. I guess. Yeah, I don't know.
Per pill, $7,000 for the whole thing, and then.
Yeah, this guy here is like, oh my god, yeah, $700 per pill. Nothing crazy. Ah, yes, it's only simple business, life-saving medicine. I like their editing setup, honestly. I mean, they're just all over the screen here. They're taking up the entire screen. I actually haven't seen a setup like this before, but they're just in it, boy. They're right there. They're breathing in each other's mouths. It's a nice setup. I like it. Maybe me and Son should do this sometime. Just have we both get like green screens, and then we're just like overlapping, and we just take up literally the entire screen. You can't even see shit that's going on. We're just overlap. You can't see each other. You can't see what's going on. We're just like completely over top of everything. It's just like you can see like our chins, and sometimes we move around. You get to see an eye or something. It's crazy. I like it.
Is that an issue? See, we talked about Canada socialism. Is this American capitalist hospital shit?
Oh my gosh, Amish, how do you think these drugs get made?
Do
you know how much money it costs to make a drug?
I mean,
yes.
I guess so.
Where are the other life-saving drugs coming out of?
Europe's not making drugs?
Oh, they're using American drugs, dude.
Amish is right. We love him. We stand Amish here. All right. And Amish kind of gets bullied a little bit by Coffeezilla, because Coffeezilla speaks pretty authoritatively here, but he's not correct at all. So here's like the big thing. We're not the only country that makes drugs. We work very fastidiously with France to make drugs. Canada has their own drugs. Lots of places in Europe have their own drugs. China has their own drugs. Mexico has a lot of their own drugs. People still buy medicine from us. We're a huge country, and we make a lot of drugs here. We love our drugs here. And even if that was the case, it should cost more for them to get those drugs, because they have to ship them out. They have to make like deals, and they have to they should come in line second behind America, since the drugs are being made here. But apparently it's not the case. And I want to know why he thinks why.
Because guess where you make the money? Look, Amish, do you think magical drug formulas come out of the fairy of drugs? Like somebody has to make these.
I guess so. Yeah, no, the capitalism helps it. Okay. Hey.
No, I mean,
God bless America.
No.
God bless America.
It pisses me off because people go, it's so expensive in America. It's like, yeah, this is where all the life-saving drugs come from.
This makes literally no sense. We should be getting them cheaper. We're right here. You know what? This is how it worked with the COVID vaccine. This is just completely disproven with the COVID vaccine. We got the COVID vaccine cheaper than we did than other countries did when they tried to order vaccines from AstraZeneca, Pfizer, Moderna, who are stationed here, because they're in our country. We set the shit up. We get good deals. because they're our companies at the end of the day. Honestly, we could have just gotten them for free. We could have just told the company to do it, and we could have just gotten it for free. Sure, everybody knows that making drugs is expensive. We'll get into that.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, if that's true, and that's the cost of it. That's it.
No, because listen. As a business, okay, you have to think like a business for a second. Let's say you're a pharmaceutical person.
Yeah.
Let's say you're a great guy.
When we talk about things that are so important, like drugs, I don't really want them to be thinking in the form of a business. I want them to be thinking in the form of what's going to be best for society, not like what's going to make us the most amount of money, because we've seen a lot of drug companies do bad with that, i.e. the opioid crisis.
Right? You want to make drugs that are going to save the world. Just in theory. I know everyone's saying they're all just greedy pigs, right?
Yeah. Sure, you got to have a profit.
They're as greedy as anybody else. No. But if you're a good guy, do you know how hard it is to get FDA approved? You've got to submit trial after trial. Stage 3, stage 4. You got to go through so many different trials. How do you fund those? They cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, possibly millions of dollars. So,
yeah, I guess this is the only way. I guess, yeah. I don't know.
Well,
I mean, if
you
this
can
is the only way,
crowdfund it. No. Early on in COVID, I promoted a project that was crowdfunding an antiviral. Okay.
Yeah.
Their biggest problem was funding for these studies.
Yeah, and even if that's the case, that's why capitalism doesn't work here. Markets don't work here. You're right. If things are really difficult and there's no like guarantee you're going to make your money back, you're right. Lots of companies absolutely would have just let the vaccine go by, let the virus go by, because it wouldn't be profitable to them. Or if they makes any, it would have been just for like their employees, or they would do a little bit for like public PR. But besides that, no, they wouldn't be working on this if it made no money.
Better in capitalist, but then healthcare is better in socialist.
But how about that? Where do you get the pharmaceutical drugs to treat the healthcare?
From capital, I guess. From capital. I mean, if this is what you're saying, like this is where all the good stuff comes from.
No. I'm not saying America's healthcare system isn't completely irrevocably screwed up, right?
Right.
I agree with you. I'm saying people who are saying there shouldn't be profit in pharmacy are idiots, because they don't understand that that's how the drugs get produced.
What the fuck does that mean? How do you think those people thought their drugs get produced? Do you think that there was like, does he think that we think that there's like a drug fairy in there, like making the drugs out of like fucking bippity boppity boop in the factories? We all know that the drugs get produced because they want to make money. They're businesses. Everybody knows this. What are you talking about? If you want to change like the mode of production of something, you obviously think that the mode of production is bad, right? This doesn't make any sense. His like understanding of what the opposition believes is like so poor.
There is no innovation in drug making. If all of it's like there shouldn't be a profit margin on the pill, then there's never going to be an innovation in new drugs. There's just going to be the same crappy drugs with crappy side effects.
Right.
Why? I don't think that's true. Why? Because they just don't want to make anything? Why is money the only way? Yeah. Why is money the only reason why anyone would ever improve something? What if they had a different model? All right. Crazy to think about. What if instead of making money, their goal was to make the best drug? Oh, incredible. What if they didn't have to worry about money, so they could take the time that they need, so they wouldn't have to cut any corners, so they'd be able to run all the trials that they needed to, so they'd have the all the resources they need to produce better drugs, because they don't have to worry about their higher ups getting on their ass for like taking too much time or like wasting too much money, and they could just make drugs. It's wild to me. And the government does this all the time with like publicly funded research.
I mean, I guess
this is the reality nobody wants to confront. Everyone wants the miracle drug. Nobody wants to pay for it. Where do these things come from? Because think about it. You're having to bat 1,000 times at a drug before you get a drug that's worth it. Because you got 1,000 drugs, 1,000 ideas, right? You got to put all of them through. Okay, 500 of them make it to stage 1. Right? These are bad numbers, right?
Yeah. It's like TV. It's just like nothing gets made. It's like
250 of them get into stage 2. 10 of them get into stage 3. One of them maybe makes it to market. You're paying for all that development for 1,000 drugs.
So what do you think?
Where's the money come from?
You're right. That's why the market doesn't work here. Coffeezilla, you've done it. You've explained perfectly why the capitalist system doesn't work here, and why there's so much stagnation, why there's so many problems with people being able to get their drugs, why the prices are so high. That's a huge problem. He's figured out why the capital model is detrimental when it comes to getting people the drugs, because the model doesn't get drugs to where they're needed. It gets drugs to where they can be afforded. That's what markets do. And not everybody who needs those drugs can afford them. I'm not sure if anybody has ever known this or known a person who's been poor, but your amount of need for a drug doesn't go up or down whether you have money or not. Actually, sometimes it can go up the poorer you get, and it gets harder for you to even get those drugs because you're fucking poorer now.
My company wants to create a better drug. And being the fact that there are only 1,000 patients with this condition, I can only sell it 1,000 times per year, whatever. The numbers aren't making sense, but just consider this.
Yeah.
So we have to have a high profit margin. Otherwise, there's no research, basically, whatever. Now, is that just an excuse to profit? Maybe, I don't know. But that is a legitimate point where it's like, all right, if you're selling a drug that treats the cold, yeah, you need like $1 per pill and you're making billions of dollars. But if you're selling a drug that cures like this 20 people have the illness and you're curing it, there's no money in it. So that's why rare diseases go underdeveloped, because there's no money in it.
That's another. Coffeezilla, thank you. Coffeezilla's doing Comrade Coffeezilla here, explaining all of the reasons why a lot of countries have moved away from. Yeah, he's like literally right there. Why he's right there for why so many countries have moved away from the profit model when it comes to creating drugs. Because you're right. If there's a rare disease and you can't get that much money from it, people say, fuck you. Rest in piss, you won't be missed, because I'm not wasting my money on your ass. And I think human lives are worth more than companies' profit margins. So if we still have a system where a market exists and companies need to make money, then this is something that shouldn't be handled by the companies, because they have to make money. And if it doesn't make, we want things in society that don't necessarily make money, but make society better. Don't you think you have to weigh that a little bit? Don't you think like there are some things that we want, like, oh, this won't make us money, but this will like make us happy? It'll make society better. This meme is very real. When society gets better, typically profits go up anyways. But it just doesn't go to companies. It's spread out amongst the people. But these pharmaceutical companies don't care about profits going up across the board for the entire country. They care about theirs, their companies.
Obviously, in a perfect world, that all falls on the insurance companies, and we have correct healthcare insurance, where the healthcare insurance companies have to provide healthcare to the people with the rare diseases. And the people with who are developing the rare drugs can get paid to develop those rare drugs a proper amount so they can continue to develop rare disease drugs.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's it. That's like, this is 7,000.
See, in the perfect system, where insurance companies aren't like devil spawn, this would be a good meme. You're totally right. Insulin prices are another really big thing here. Like, lots of people in this country have diabetes. Lots of people in this country have an insulin deficiency, either type 1 or type 2 diabetes. And as like obesity rises, like type 2 diabetes has been like a much bigger thing. Insulin is very common, and insulin is very expensive. Arthritis is very common. Arthritis medicine is very expensive. I know. I've had like family members. I've like dated people who have family members or they themselves have arthritis problems. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of cash. Okay. Oh, what, an EpiPen? How many people in this country have like allergies? There are lots of people in this country with like nut allergies, which I think, I'm sorry. I know this is not funny, but being like, please help me get these nuts away from me. I can't take a nut. Please. Anything but a nut. Dying because of a nut on paper is hilarious. Okay. Anything but the nut, please. Come. You can't tell me that shit isn't funny. Like, oh, boo-hoo, it's a nut. You know, like, come on. Like, that's funny. It is really funny. He's mocking my suffering. I'm sorry. I would never I just think it's hilarious how someone could be holding like a fucking peanut and be like, oh, you watch out, boy. And you're like, whoa, wait, calm down. Wait, slow down. Just like a nut is a weapon of mass destruction. Like, come on. That's hilarious. That's funny. That being said, dying because of nut, on a personal level is very not funny. So there are lots of people who have nut allergies or any other like form of allergies. Well, they'll just swell up and die. There are millions of people in this country with that. And nuts are everywhere. Nuts are hiding where you wouldn't even expect them. Nuts are just absolutely all over the place. They're creeping, they're sneaking, they live in the shadows. And so nut allergy people are on their toes 24/7. If they eat a nut, their throat could swell up and they could just die. But those shots are still incredibly expensive. My mom has an EpiPen shot. We even have the VA, and if that shit costs like, what does an EpiPen shot cost? Like $500 or something? It's incredible. It's like all 4 tires in your car go out type of expensive, all because someone accidentally fed you nut. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe drugs is one of those things that you got to do it like that. I mean, I don't know. Hey, not everything has to be one or the other. I just think some things work better one way, some things work better the other way. This could be one of those things that work better.
I think, I agree that like you have to provide healthcare to people. Like I'm a big believer in like you can't just like turn people away. You have to provide healthcare. You have to provide like there's like, I mean, it should not. What is it? Healthcare is a human right. Totally agree with that.
Listen, guys, healthcare is a human right. I just have to say, the medicine to get that healthcare is not a human. What the fuck does that mean? Like, listen, guys, cars are a human right. Everyone deserves a car, but the tires are going to cost $10,000. Okay, like, all right, like you can't go anywhere. Like, oh, dude, we got you a car, but the car's like on fucking like bricks in your driveway. Like, oh, cool, thanks. They're no like. The rims aren't there. The tires aren't there. You don't have any way of being able to get that. Sure, like you have a car, I guess. You can't do anything with it, though. You can sit in it and go like in the driveway. Is that fun? Cool. All right. Like the drugs cost everything. Do you just sit in the bed? And is that it? It's just like a free bed. You just kind of vibe there.
But a lot of it was just fear of like, oh my God, are we going to become this other? Are we going to become communists or something? Like there was this fear of like, we can't let the government do stuff. And, you know, you just got to look at each section and rationally think about that. Like drugs might be better profit. And then that might be better non-profit, like just government run.
Yeah.
Everyone gets the healthcare.
I mean, yeah. Shark. It's kind of hard because I'm also a giant believer that nobody screws things up more than the government. It's like there's almost no system worse for doing things than the government, generally speaking.
I want to find the nearest sewer.
But that said, you can't turn people away. Like
you can't turn people away. And also that belief by a lot of people makes it shittier too. Like, I mean,
that's true. It does. Like people like Coffeezilla do make government programs even worse because what they do is they gut the government programs. They means test the government programs. You know, a really big thing for like disabled people, for one, they're unable to build wealth because people like Coffeezilla made it so that they're scared of like the welfare queens and you just sitting there and soaking up money from the government and not like contributing anything to society. So what they did is they made it so you can't accumulate wealth. And so it's like you're rubber banding from you have like close to enough money to finally get on your feet and do something. But the government takes that. But if you do have enough money to finally get somewhere, they pull all those benefits because you have enough money to like start to do things, but you don't have enough money in the back end to maintain that because you can't just like it takes time to find a job. It takes time to like build enough money to go like get things together, get a car, pay your rent, like get food. This is incredible. This is a lot of money. There's a lot of money. And so they pull those benefits out from under you and then you fall back down into the welfare system because you don't have enough money to keep going. And so then you have to be on the welfare again. And it's just like this endless cycle, all because people don't have this like incredible like fear that 1 out of 1 million people who use this program are just going to be like playing Madden 2K16 in their living room and smoking weed on like government money, which I don't care. I really don't care. Most people want a good life. Most people really love the idea of achieving something. Most people really, really don't want to live on the government. They don't. They just don't. Even in countries with like massive welfare states, they don't even want to live on the welfare state. Lots of people like the idea of doing their own thing. That and you get more money. You just get more money. Like a sustenance lifestyle is not something that everybody wants to live on. Some people, fine. And if they do, I don't care. I don't care. It doesn't matter. There's so few people there. And I just don't care. And I don't want to make other people suffer just because like 0.2% of a group of people are abusing the system. I just don't care. It doesn't matter. The people who need the help are way more important to get them that help than the people who don't need the help need to be punished. It just doesn't matter to me. And it shouldn't matter to anyone else.
I mean, Europe is pulling off a lot of good stuff from their government. They get their government to do a lot of good programs, a lot of well-organized, cheaper, like decently run stuff. Like, for example, healthcare. Like that is one of those ones. But there's other stuff like prison system. Like by letting it get like too in the hands of people who just want to make money and who can lobby people to
spin fire
like
right now.
Like with the U.S. prison system, there is an issue where there is a lobby saying like, hey, make these laws more stringent so we can put more people in jail. That can really affect a society. We've seen over the years. Like that can really, that can be an issue if you just keep it completely profit driven.
Wait, you're telling me that capital can cause problems when it has to rub up against what's good for society? What? Who could have seen this coming, dude?
So Europe, it has a decent system on certain things, you know what I'm saying? But in America, there is a belief that like government screws everything up. So then a lot of people just go in and they're like, see, I screwed it up.
Yeah, that's true. They means test all of these things. Oh, another thing, like when it comes to like single parents, some of you guys may have experienced this where Like social workers will come into your house and like flip everything over, like do this crazy inspection to make sure that no one else is in the home, to make sure you're really, really single and really struggling. And so it increases like the child poverty, because there'll be like these single parents who have to take care of a kid. And so they get on like, and so they get on like welfare or something to have that happen. But once they find like a partner, or once they find like, they have like, maybe they have something going for them, the government pulls that from under them because we haven't means tested, and then they fall back into the system again. It keeps people poor. It actually disincentivizes people to actually get in relationships, get married, date people, have someone in the home, like try things out, try and get out of that single parent like lifestyle. They don't want them to. People like Coffeezilla make it impossible to. It's horrible. Are you speaking from experience? Yeah, you guys are all of my children, and the government pays me for having you guys, for doing this daycare and having you guys in chat.
People, you know what people say about telecoms in Canada? They say the issue is that it's less people in a large distance, so it's just never been profitable.
Well, sorry. I was just
gonna say, like at one point nobody would have done it, and then the government was like, "Come on, can someone do it?" So then they made, I think, the Bell Corporation, or they just gave them a bunch of money to build all the lines.
Yeah,
because they were like, nobody wants to do it. Nobody cares about connecting these all.
I've got to fight your point that like everyone's just inventing the idea the government screws something up. Like, do you know about like the VA and stuff in America?
Yeah,
I'm gonna
like the VA healthcare.
They're not paying out the healthcare money or whatever. Yeah,
they're just like constantly finding ways to basically not do the things they need to do. The system's a complete train wreck. I mean, it's like the government says, oh, the problem with making things government
okay, wait, pause, because I'm unironically fuming. All right, I hate this. I hate this so much. I hate it more than anything, because here's why I really do speak from experience. All right. I'm a military brat. I've been a military brat my entire life. If I remember correctly, I think 20 years of my life, I've been a military brat, and both of my parents have served 30 years in the military each. I've had service members in my family serve in, I think, almost every single American war. That's not necessarily a flex, because for a good portion of those wars, they were kind of forced to be there, especially Vietnam. Not a good place. I had family members who had to be who were drafted, forced to be thrown into Vietnam. Bad memes. That being said, I have a long history of the VA, okay? And medical issues aren't foreign to my family. We've gone through cancer, depression, ADHD, PTSD. We've like hypertension, high blood sugar, low blood sugar, low blood pressure, hypotension. We've seen so many things. I had to get CAT scans, MRIs. We've had to go through like therapy, skin issues, eyes, teeth, hearing. There's so many things that we've gone through. And you know what? All of it has gone through the VA. I absolutely hate when random ass civilians who aren't in the military, don't have family members in the military, don't have friends in the military. None of these people know what happens in the VA, and none of these people care. All right. You know what these people care about? Using the VA, using the Veterans Affairs as a cudgel against like other governments, other government programs. It's so sickening to me, because there's so many veterans who get so much help through the VA. My family has never had a single issue with the VA. No one that my parents served in the country. My parents served overseas. My parents served. We were in New York when 9/11 happened, and they don't know a single person. I've asked them about this several times. They don't know a single person who would be like, I hate the VA, in the military, who's like, I hate the VA. I wouldn't want the VA to be doing any of my work, because they do good work. They work with veterans every single day. A lot of them are veterans or active duty, and they know exactly what's happening, and they know exactly how to take care of them. Does the VA have hiccups? Sure. Is it hard to get in? Sometimes? Absolutely. But that doesn't make it any different than any other like insurance company. The thing is, they're not profit driven. They're driven on making veterans' lives better, and a lot of the times to keep their lives around, period. So I hate it when these random ass civilians are sitting here like, oh yeah, the VA is terrible. Like veterans hate the VA. No, they don't. Stop trying to speak for my parents. Stop trying to speak for my family members. Stop trying to speak for like my friends of the family who've gone through so much hardship, who've like lost family members, who've lost limbs while in the military, who got so much help through the VA, and who wouldn't for a moment think about switching to a for-profit healthcare system that's an absolute nightmare. You want to talk about not paying out, all right? There's a whole genre of media about insurance companies not paying out. That's what they're known for. Like you have some like crazy disease that you didn't know about, and then the insurance company goes, "Oh, $2 million to get that surgery. Oh, yikes! Pull that shit." And they get out, and people are like left to die. This happens all the time. That doesn't happen with the VA. Are there some problems? Sure. Can you pick out some like problems that people have had with the VA, or sometimes where people have gotten screwed over by the VA? Sure. No system's perfect. There are always going to be people who fall through the cracks, but don't you dare for a second sit here and try to use a system that I've used for my entire life through ADHD, through like cancer in my family, through like surgeries in my family, my direct friends of the family who've gone through the VA and have nothing but good things to say about the brave men and women who are working in the VA system for our veterans and active duty service members. It is ridiculous to me how someone's going to use this who have no clue what it's like as a cudgel to take away good healthcare and demonize government-run healthcare for other people who are suffering daily. You want to see real suffering? Talk to someone who's in a private healthcare system. Talk to some of those people. Talk to some of the people who hear the stories coming out of America who have a publicly funded healthcare system. Tell them. They'll look at you like you're telling them about a horror story. It seems like something that's not even real to them, the level of suffering that happens. So don't you sit here, Coffeezilla, and try to use my family as a cudgel for your like talking point about how the government doesn't do good work. It's ridiculous. Yeah, a lot of people wouldn't be around right now if they didn't have the VA. That and other systems. We can talk about like what? Like I don't use any other mailing system but USPS, and I never will. USPS is amazing. They're cheap, they're amazing. They give shit on time. Like I've never had a problem with a USPS, and I'm not going to use FedEx or like what the fuck's the other one? UPS. I'm not using that shit. I'm not doing it. I love USPS, and I'm not going to switch because they do good work. There are lots of like there's so many places. Like I live in Kentucky, okay? There's so many places where FedEx and UPS don't even deliver because they don't give a shit about the people who are living out in the middle of the woods. But you know who does? The USPS members who go out there day in and day out to deliver people their medicine, their bills, their checks, who need it. But for FedEx and UPS, they don't give a shit about that because they're companies, they're corporations. Their job isn't to make sure that your grandma is able to get her insulin. Their job is to make sure they increase profits for their shareholders. Anyways.
Totally government run is there's no one to turn to when things go wrong. So like when things go wrong in capitalism, sometimes there's like a competitor that you can be like, all right, you just do it. And you just change your choice and then they have to change. Yeah. But there's no real way to bully or like get your way with like, hey, we're not taking care of our veterans. Who are you going to call? The government? Are you going to call up Biden and go, hey, can you actually help? Like it's too big of a behemoth. You can't rationalize with that. You can't fight with the government. Like, oh, who do you have a beef with? The government. Oh, just write them a bad Yelp review. I'm sure they're going to change their mind. You know what I mean?
Do you really think a bad Yelp review is going to change a company's mind either? What are you talking about? Like Nestle literally, you know that Nestle, Flint, Michigan, the whole thing with like Flint, Michigan, lead in the water, that was Nestle. Nestle personally did that. Nestle led to like a 50% increase in mental disorders in children in like Flint, Michigan, personally, by their own hands. You know what happened to Nestle? Nothing. Literally nothing. Literally nothing. Companies used to actually unironically shoot workers who were protesting, okay? Shoot strikers, literally call in private police to gun them down. All right, don't you sit here and tell, like when Apple was throttling old phones when they released new phones, what are you gonna do? Call up Apple? Hey, Mr. Apple, can you stop? No, bitch, that doesn't happen. What are you talking about? They got sued. They got sued to stop by the government? Whoa, crazy. What are you talking about? You know what happens if a government program isn't working? Go to your local official. They hold like rallies. You have to vote for them, or they'll make it an issue. That's how you get it changed. Make it an issue. Make it beneficial for them. Many companies, they don't care what you think because a lot of companies are big enough to you can't escape them. You could be sitting at home, you could like hate Nestle, but you don't even know that you have a Nestle product sitting in your home right now. You could hate Disney. But you could be consuming a Disney product right now and you have no clue about it. Because they're so massive. They're such a big conglomerate. You cut off one thing and they're to another. They're always siphoning money somehow with how like big these conglomerates are. So don't you sit here and tell me, oh, dude. Oh yeah. Oh, what? Just like go to another guy. Okay, who's the competitor to Google? You don't like what YouTube is doing? Who are you gonna call? DLive? Who you gonna call, bud? Who's it gonna be? Who are you gonna call up if your channel gets dinged? Who are you gonna call up if Twitch shits on you? What's gonna happen? Where are you gonna go? It's ridiculous. Don't you sit here and tell me, oh, dude, companies, you could just do whatever. Like, dude, we remember the opioid crisis where and Amazon too, where actual companies unironically gave people opiates who were addicted and lied to insurance companies to give them more opiates. This is incredible to me. How this is like, just like vote with your dollar. It's so easy, dude. Just like stop. Like, okay, buddy.
Let me do a pushback on that note. So I would say that what's really killing the VA people is the profit driven, because the military industrial complex, it is half profit driven. So you have half the people coming in and being like, let's do this and let's do this, because I can make some money on this. And then the VA is like kind of left behind as an afterthought, I feel like. So and this happens a lot in government. Military guys are good because they're military guys. They're aggressive, like Jocko. I think it's a good time to bring him up again. But they're aggressive. So they go into the government and they can be aggressive there too. They go in with these government bureaucrats, these lefties, and they go, hey, here's what we're going to do or everyone's going to die. You want that on your head? So just shut the fuck up and this is what we're doing. That's how World War I started. And I'm talking about like to this day, even with Afghanistan, a lot of people are saying a lot of the screw up is because military contractors are like, I don't want to leave. I'm making too much money. I'm not leaving. So if a bunch of people die and a bunch of people, it's mismanaged, whatever, good. We'll use that and we'll tell them that. I know that's a bit of a conspiracy, but like with VA, I think they're suffering from a bit of that, where it's like, who's getting rich? Like, because nobody's getting rich on the other side and nobody's paying attention to it. So it's just becoming this thing on the side. It's like,
well,
who cares
yeah, no, but I'm pointing to an example of government kind of failing, and you're just saying like,
it's the corporations going in and
you're like it's the capitalism in the government that's making it fail.
No, but that's the mix is really bad too, right?
Yeah. Wait. Oh, but he's so close. Wait, you're right. It is the capital that works with the business that helps make the government so bad. What happened if we got rid of that capital? So curious. You're right there, Coffeezilla. You're right there. You're right there, buddy. He's so close.
Hey, like, don't you see? Like, even a lot of libertarians talk about this, where they say capitalism would work so much better if they couldn't lobby the government. Lobbying the government, this is a corruption. It corrupts capitalism itself.
Right, and socialists would say, look, if you're mixing it with this weird capitalism thing, it's screwing it up.
I would say clean capitalism would work better than that.
What does he? Wait. Oh no. He's gone from base to incredibly unbased so quickly. Wait, what does he mean by clean capital? Is he talking about like complete, like libertarian, suck my ass government because the only fair is laissez-faire? Oh geez, what does that mean? Clean capitalism? Oh, capitalism is not clean, bucko.
I'm just saying that, you know what I mean? Then this half government. Yeah, I think that's what that is the counterpoint, I guess. Is like, okay, yeah, they're screwing up, but like, who are they competing with for this money? They got a bunch of military heads. They got a bunch of corporate sales guys coming in and lobbying government and saying, give me the money, give me the money, give me the money. And then you got the VA that's like, please, these are the guys who fought it before. Like, we need to help them out. And
shit, I think a lot of people just
the VA is basically saying like, no, you can't get help. There's a lot of claims that are being denied.
They're being denied because they don't have any money, right? Like, they're just not getting their funding.
No, they're like, sorry, you didn't file within 12 months, and because you got cancer like at 13 months, we basically can't cover you.
Is that, excuse me, what? That's like a literal insurance company. Wait. You're so close, Coffeezilla. Make it so they don't have to worry about money. So they just give people, just make it free. You're right. And like private insurance companies are even worse. What are you talking about? What the fuck is he talking about? This is not an argument against like the VA. This is an argument against profit driven insurance companies, period. Which you're right. Get rid of it. I'm losing my mind.
So isn't that their way of like saving money though? Because they're broke and they don't want to pay out anyone? Because that's what always insurance companies do. They just find excuses not to pay people out.
You've just got to understand. America has a rich tradition of screwing over their veterans. It's like it's like old as apple pie. It's like we promise you, hey, go to war, 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 and then whenever you do, we're like, all right, well, come back, have a nice life, and like you're all like jacked up. You got like PTSD. I mean, it's like it's an old tradition, dude.
I guess it's
welcome to America. Tradition. Welcome to the.
And he isn't trying to make it any better. I'm losing my mind. This is ridiculous. The level of, and once again, I don't hate Coffeezilla, but this argument here is just so terrible. It's so poorly thought out, rambling by two people who have no clue what's going on, and I hate it. I hate it so much. At least Amish, like if that's how you pronounce his name, I don't want to mispronounce his name too hard. At least he had some pretty decent points when it came to pushing back, but at the same time, just just the idea that more capital is going to make this better is just, I will never, ever accept that. Never. It has never been proven anywhere. You know why? Because across the world, healthcare systems that are better than ours aren't the ones that had more capital in their system. It's the ones that had far less. And a lot of the times, none at all. So no, I am not going to accept that. It's absolutely ridiculous. I don't like it. This is terrible. This is not and a lot of the times he had ideas that even went against his own for why capital shouldn't be in the system at all. It's just, I hate it. I don't like it. It's garbage. Get this away from me. Terrible.
This meme is very real.
You're right, Marjorie. This meme is very real.